Hey everybody, it is TorontoUnicorn here, and I wanted to give some advice about sex clubs. I go to a club downtown Toronto called Oasis Aqua Lounge, and when I started in this lifestyle, the swinger lifestyle, I was a single woman. I joined, I was super nervous to go alone, but you get pushed to a point in life, and especially your sex life, where you're like, oh, I gotta do something different. And then I had my experience and I thrived in the lifestyle, and here I am, many years later. So if I could go back and do it again, if I had the knowledge that I have now as a girl who has been in the lifestyle for multiple years now, had lots of experiences all over the place, I would say that, yeah, it's gonna feel weird going in alone for the first time. It is. It's gonna feel like you are somewhere, anywhere else, alone. It's awkward as fuck. I mean, if you are not at a restaurant and there's like decent shit to read, like a good cocktail menu, you could be fidgeting with your fingernails because you're like, okay, how do I exist in this space, right? So I know that the challenge of being anywhere alone is a big enough barrier, let alone a sex club, right? So, some of the advice that I would give is to actually take yourself out alone somewhere, not at a sex club, and see if you can get through it, right? Take yourself out to dinner without your phone, put your phone face down. You are not to be playing Candy Crush or whatever. You are supposed to exist in space as a single person and realize that you can do it. And when you get that comfort, when you get that feeling of, maybe it was a little awkward, maybe, it took a long time to get your meal kind of thing, but you're going to walk out of that restaurant thinking, I did that. I can do that. That wasn't so bad. Maybe it was a little awkward. Maybe next time I'll bring a book or something, but you can exist in space as a single person, including social spaces, especially, right? So if you can do that, then it makes the jump to go into a sex club alone much different because you're already feeling empowered as a single person, and then you can go and just explore a new type of atmosphere. See how it's a bit less of a big giant jump, right? Not all of us wanted to take it all in the first thrust, if you know what I mean. Anyways, if I also could go back in time, I would say it's not all about sex. It's not. It's about people in a community who don't judge people who have sex. I prefer to have safe sex. I prefer to have ethical encounters. So in this lifestyle, that means that everybody is consenting to the, dynamics that are going on, and nothing is done in the shady, shadows or behind people's backs, things like that. That's what I like about the lifestyle. If I could go back in time and come again, I would say learn to ask for what you want, because people are willing to meet you where you are, or maybe not, in terms of like your pleasure points or like what your objectives are. But you need to know how to communicate them. You need to know that you can't just go there, buzz around the club, and just get the perfect sex in your fantasies. Like, you need to be able to translate all of this into communication with whoever you match with, to be able to even know how to have that interaction with you. Especially as a single woman, I like to give advice this way: is don't go in there taking what they're offering in terms of what the men are offering. Like, oh, if they ask you to suck their D, or if they just offer you a little quick whatever over there and that's really not your vibe, or, if they want you to swallow and you don't want to. I'm like, the time for taking what we can get is over. And now I like to educate, especially newcomers, to seek the experiences that they want and learn how to ask for them. Be empowered for how to ask for them. Don't be demanding. No one wants someone who's like, eat my pussy this way, this way, this way. No, but you could say, oh, I just get so turned on by men who are oral pleasers and know what they're doing. That's an opportunity for somebody to then be like, oh, well, I actually am really good at that. Maybe one day I could try out for, the team. I mean, that's a good flirting intro, right? So there's ways of asking for what you want, and it's important that you first walk in believing that you deserve to get what you want. You deserve to just not take what's at the offering table at these clubs. You can just make it your own experience, right? So also, you don't have to have sex. You can go there and watch. You can go there and just smoke in the smoking section. You can go there and wear your clothes if you want to. These clubs are not about pressure. They're not about pushing people to do things they don't want to do. And so, I mean, I'll say that in the front areas, in the casual areas, sometimes late at night, the vibe picks up. It gets a bit sexually intense in some of these clubs. Then you need to understand that that's a different level of the environment, right? Sometimes at Club M4, for example, in the back room, I go on Friday night sometimes, and it can get pretty crazy back there, to the point where you better be prepared for like all the sights and sounds and smells that you're gonna get, right? So not everyone is ready for that. Not everyone likes that vibe, and that's okay because different clubs offer different environments, different vibes, especially even just different theme nights at the same club. So yeah, so these are some of the things that I wish I had known. And yeah, if you can go and exist in public in space and not feel undeserving of that chair at that restaurant, like for example, right? You are deserving as a single person to exist in space. Once you accept that and try that out and you survive, you're going to be able to handle the next thing. So I hope this helped. I love being able to reflect back on my experiences. You always learn in life. You always learn, even from the hard times, even from the times where you felt awkward as fuck in the middle of a club like this alone, okay? I remember the time where I walked in that club and I basically took off my things, went and sat down, and I didn't have my cell phone. I didn't have anything in my hands. I didn't even have my ring on to fidget with. And I remember there for a moment realizing, as if I had just jumped off of a diving board and I hadn't yet hit the water. And I was like, well, I've done it now. I might as well make the most of it. And so sometimes you've got to put yourself in the situations, in the alignment of the future that you want to have, and make the most of it. Hope that helps. If you want any more tips and advice, you can go to TorontoUnicorn.com. I've got lots of playlists in my channel here on YouTube that gives advice on etiquette of these clubs and how to be social, how to make a conversation where people actually want to talk to you. Things like faux pas, you don't want to do certain things like touch people without consent or go around bumming cigarettes off people. I mean, that's just not cool, really. So yeah, so these are some of the tips and tricks you can get from me. And don't forget, I've got a fan page and I love to give all sorts of exclusive content there. So it's all of the links are at TorontoUnicorn.com.